All right, welcome to The Vault, everyone. Today we are here with our business inspirational speaker, Rebecca Cross. She's coming here all the way from the UK, and we are really glad to have you. Welcome to The Vault, Rebecca.
I'm very well, thank you for having me. I am so excited. Excited.
I am very excited. You're coming all the way from London here, right?
I'm in a place called Salisbury, which is not far from London. So yes, in the country.
So we are like worlds apart, but yet we're brought together by this technology. So I'm just really glad that we have you on. And I just want to dig right into the questions right off the bat. So we're super positive right now, but I did want to dig right into the first question was, tell us about your childhood. I know you had some rough upbringings, and I wanted to hear a little bit about where you came from.
Okay, well, I was born with eldest of 3 children. Family member went to prison, and I ended up going into foster care with my sister at the age of 7. Went to quite a few primary schools, like early years here, and it was a bit of a challenge because what happened was I missed a lot of my education, the basics. So, you know, I didn't know my times table very great. There was lots of things that went on, and then about when I was 14, I realised I had a reading age of 7. So all those years, I kept thinking I was, you know, not very bright, and I was thinking I'm never going to be able to have a decent job. I'm going to have to just figure out what I'm going to do in my life and just hope that everything's going to be okay. Because you see, my sister, she had the same upbringing as me, but she was really intelligent. Like she knew every single word in the dictionary, and she went to the same amount of schools as me. So I couldn't figure out why I was just not with it, and it's because I had a learning difficulty, and we didn't pick it up till I was 14. So growing up, it was a bit of, you know, visiting people in prison, being around addiction, alcohol, and I learned very early on, you have choices in life, and you can either allow history to repeat, which when I would go into a prison to see a family member, I would know that, you know, there was a history of generations just learning habits from people around you. And it's very brave sometimes to be able to stand up against anybody in any environment. So, you know what, I'm going to actually change the history, and I'm not going to allow this to be the future. And I wanted to be that person in my family. It was hard. And even now, I don't necessarily get on with everyone in my family, but I know that I'm setting an example for my own children, and that anything, it doesn't matter what background you come from, it doesn't matter where you are in life, what you learn, what you know, your knowledge, you can turn it around and you can do anything you want to do. And that's something that I've really pushed towards where I am right now.
I can really relate to you. My brother is actually in jail right now, and it is very difficult to have a family member in jail. There's a lot of you know, you don't get to talk to that person, and then there's always the blame of like what could have been done better. And I wanted to know, what did you do to kind of get out of that vicious cycle that you could have been in? How were you able to improve that situation for yourself?
I think it's when you see people destroying the lives around you. You know, you see, the reason why 2 of my family members, and one's my sister and my mother, is that there's a belief system going on somewhere, and this is the kind of work I do now. It's something that they believe, or it's something that's going on that puts them in this cycle that they think they can have an excuse, and that it's okay, and that, you know, I'm doing this because we've done that, or it's not my fault, or, you know, and there's always these things going on. And I realized quite early on, I don't want to live a life like that. I don't want to live a life of blame. I don't want to live a life just because this happened. You know, this is why I'm in this situation. And so I learned very quickly. Well, no, I didn't learn very quickly, I suppose. I bottled up my emotions and thought, right, I'll be brave. I'm going to put a little top on this, and I'm just going to be a fighter. But that actually nipped me in the bum a little bit later on in life, when I realized that eventually I had to deal with these emotions. So it was great when you're trying to fight through something, but sometimes I think what's great is that you can stop, acknowledge what's going on, and make a choice. Do you want this to be you? Do you actually want to be in that situation? Do you want to feel like they're feeling? Do you want to have children and think you're going to have to worry about money? You're going to be visiting me in prison. You're going to be using drugs. You're going to be using alcohol. You know, do you want that? No, I don't. It's a horrendous place to be in. So that's how I always remember those feelings, and that's what made me want to push forward.
So how did this lead to you becoming an entrepreneur and living that lifestyle?
Well, that's a funny one, right? Because let me tell you this. When I was younger, I used to watch Pretty Woman all the time. Not because I wanted to be like Julia Roberts, i.e. in the film. I wanted to be more like Richard Gere, the entrepreneur. And I used to think, I am going to be so rich. I'm going to have the shoulder pads, the briefcase and everything. And even though I had this subconscious thought like, oh, Rebecca, you're not very bright. It's never going to happen. And then I kind of forgot about it. I basically fought through my education. I went to university here in the UK. I worked for companies like the Wall Street Journal, IBM, really like proved a point in the corporate world. You know, this is what I want to do. Because my limiting belief then was that you get up, you go to education, you get married, you have a 9-to-5 job, you're secure. Because, you know, my family are like, my God, why would you be so risk-taking? You need to have a job, you need to have security. And I was like, right, that's what I'm going to do. 2008, I fell pregnant with my daughter Emily, and my husband then left me for another woman when I was pregnant. Now, just to give you a bit of background, when he met me when I was 15, that resilient, determined Rebecca had vanished because all of a sudden this knight in shining armour came and looked after me, and I had never experienced it before. And his family had quite a bit of money, and it was like, you know, I'll look after you, I'm going to show you what's, you know, what it is. He helped me get through university by checking all my work and making sure it made sense. I didn't even know how to pay electricity bill, never mind change a nappy. So when it got to a point he walked out on me, I was like, crap, like what am I going to do? And I had Emily, literally, he'd left when she was 2 weeks old, and I had her in my arms, and then that resilient Rebecca came back. I am not going to be like my family. I am not going to struggle with money. I am not going to go through anything. It's just not going to happen. Emily is not going to experience anything I went through. So I set up my first business. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I just was like, I'll just go for it. And that was a kitchenware business. And then it moved on from that. And I've been an entrepreneur now. Emily turns 12 in March, and I would have been an entrepreneur for 12 years.
I love it. I love it. So then how did that segue into becoming a mentor to women and having that be part of your business model?
Yeah, well, one of my businesses back in 2012 was I actually set up a virtual assistant business because it fitted in nicely when I had my second child, Finley. And again, I'm not a very good PA, by the way. You wouldn't want me to be a PA, not good at all. But I was good at building businesses for my clients. And one of my clients was a coach. And she basically said to me, would you like to do a bit of, you know, qualifications, you know, a bit of something around motivation? I was really passionate about it. I was like, yes. And I became a motivational practitioner, which is just this flagship tool I use. And I thought, oh my God, I am loving this. She is actually a coach that deals with leadership in corporations, but I didn't want to do that because I had a daughter, and I was remembering all my past, and I still think there's not enough equality, you know, even in big corporations with women, men, in lots of things around the world, not just, you know, you think about third time countries, you know, where it's really poor, that women are still not seen to be like they should be seen. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to empower 2 million kick-ass women across the world. We're going to dominate. And that's what I started back in 2016, and I haven't looked back.
So you have a master class, and am I right? That's now this next big thing. Tell me about the master class and how the impact that's created.
So I basically have an academy, and I run a masterclass every month in my own community, which is based around my system that I'm currently trademarking at the moment, which is called an authentic greatness pyramid. And it's how I really focus on authentically a woman building their business. So I don't believe in that one coach has got one, you know, this is how you should do a business and it's one fits all. We don't, because we're all different. We've all got different motivations and drivers. So I like to work on what your belief system is, like what's holding you back. And then I work on what keeps you really motivated and keeps you crazily high energy like I am, like in your face all the time, which I love. And then we go into how we authentically grow your business, like what you're offering. Why would someone buy from you? And it goes on to the top of the pyramid until you're literally like hitting the blooming source of energy. You're like going for it. There's no stopping you. And so it works, and it's something I teach, and it's authentic to individuals. So I love it.
So you have this book now also called When She Rises. What's that all about?
So that is about 12 women, 12 entrepreneurs, me being one of them, who come together to talk about their story. And that is basically raising money for one woman at a time, which is a charity that's amazing, helping women who are going through sex slavery, sex trafficking, you name it, everything. So it was really mainly to support that charity. But it was an opportunity for me also as an entrepreneur to dip my toe into the publishing kind of industry. But I didn't want it to be a story, if you like, of feel sorry for me, look what's happened to my life, you know, etc. It was more of, I want to show you how I use everything that's happened, all my experiences, and actually made money into building a business and building a family. And so it's called 7 Steps into Stepping into Your Greatness, because my brand is Stepping into Greatness. So I talk about literally things we've just touched on already in this interview. I've shown how I've turned that around. Like when I haven't spoken to my father for 10 years, how I've turned that around, and actually that's helped me build my business. So it's really a snapshot of, you get to know me and what's happened, but there's business lessons that you can take from it.
So among all the adversity you've had, what would you say would be your rock bottom moment?
It's really funny because when you asked me, you mentioned you might ask me something like that before, and I was thinking about it and I nearly cried. I was like, I hope I don't do this on the interview. 2010, my daughter turned 2 and I was still going through a divorce, and I was getting mental abuse and God knows what else going on. And we were selling the matrimonial home, and I had no money. And I mean no money. The money that was coming in, I would prioritise to pay for the bills I could and the business expenses. And I basically had to go into Hatton Garden in London, and I had 3 rings on my finger. Well, not on my finger at the time, but it was my wedding ring from my first marriage, my engagement ring, and a graduation ring that my first husband bought me when I graduated from university. And they were quite, you know, thousands, not back in money. And I was on the train, I was like, my God, this is going to be brilliant. I'm going to sell these in Hatton Garden. These are fortune, we'll be fine for like a year, it'll be great. Well, not a year, a few months. Anyway, I went around Hatton Garden and I did not know what I was doing. They saw me coming and I got like £200 for all 3 of them. I couldn't afford Christmas presents for Emily, and I was going through a time where I struggled with the fact that history was repeating. I felt it was repeating. We couldn't afford a Christmas dinner. I had this like couple of £100. I used it to get presents and to do what I could to get us through to January. And I travelled to my mum's for Christmas because I knew she would give us Christmas dinner. I thought, and maybe a glass of wine, you know, alter the pain a little bit. And I had £70 left on my credit card because I had 3 credit cards, max, loans, everything. So I had to put £30 in the petrol tank to get to my mum's. And I thought, right, I'll do £30 on the way back so I can get back and forth. And I'll leave £10 to be able to get some food for me and Emily, and hopefully nappies and God knows what I need, because she was only 2. What I did is I got there, I was miserable as hell and really low, struggling, and I put the wrong amount of petrol adding cost. And I was like, shit, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I ended up with only like £4.99 left on the credit card. And well, basically what I did is I bought a plant for my mum from the garage, and I gave it to my mum and I said, thank you for having me for Christmas. I've got absolutely nothing, but I know I'm meant for more, and I know I can make this happen. Hang on a minute. I don't think of that very often. And anyway, I came back and I did. The universe had my back. And since then, well, I've built my empire and I kick ass every day.
So dig deeper into that. Why did that make you so sad?
Because I really couldn't believe that when Emily was born, I promised her in that labour ward I would not allow history to repeat, and I felt like it was. Now, anyone else in my family may have thought, well, will steal or will take drugs to alter the, to numb the pain, or take alcohol to numb the pain. And I couldn't go down that road, and I was scared. I am genetically, connected to my family members. Am I just the same? Am I intelligent enough to change? Am I able to be that person, that, that rich person? And when I say rich, it's not necessarily in money. I mean love. And I hadn't met my second husband then. I only had me and Emily. And I was like, can I really pull this off? Like, can I? I've been building a business for 2 years at that point, and it was just breaking even. It wasn't like I was making loads of money as much. And I was like, oh my God, am I doing the right thing? I was also training for a London Marathon. Why the hell I was doing that at the same time, I don't know, but I was. And I was just scared. I was driving back on the motorway thinking, oh my God, I've just given the last $4.99 to buy a bloody plant that my mum didn't even like. But I had to give to the universe and show the universe, I know you've got me. So for God's sake, this is happening for a reason, to show me what I've got to do next. And that was the first time I think I really trusted out there, really trusted. And walking around Hatton Garden trying to sell jewellery, I never thought I would do that. I never thought it would get that low, that I'm trying to sell the most expensive things I've got, which weren't, like massively expensive, but to try and buy something that, and when I look back, Emily probably wouldn't have even had a clue what was going on. She was 2, but it was this thing in me. I had to give her this Christmas. So yeah.
I've actually been in a very similar situation as you, like not being able to afford Christmas presents for my kids. And it's a disheartening feeling, like you let them down, and it's really rough. I totally, like, I'm trying not to get a tear in my eye from hearing you, but I've been there. And at the same time where you have to ration your money for gas, and then where you have to, once again, like you said, put your faith in the universe and give instead of ask. And that's not how we're wired as people. I don't think they don't teach that in school. That's one of those things you have to just kind of be faced with, and then you learn from.
Yeah, and I think also I didn't want to blame anyone. Like, I put myself in that situation, and that was something else I wanted to teach, and I teach my children even now. You've got a choice, and I was scared. I was like, I've got myself in this situation. I've got myself in this debt. I'm trying to build this business. I'm believing I can do something, and it was really, and then I thought, have I done that? And then I've sacrificed Christmas for my children, for my daughter at the time. So yeah, I completely get where you're coming from there.
So I want to hear about the comeback now. Map that out for me.
Comeback. Wow. I tell you what, I decided resilience was going to come back tenfold. I got into, I suppose I don't, lots of people might say this, but I watched The Secret, basically. And I did think to myself, what a load of rubbish. Who's going to say, I want a red bike, and it just appears? You know what I mean? I was like, okay, let's test it. I want you to pay my mortgage off. Oh, no, you haven't. I was really kind of, pessimistic about it. But I started to really follow it and study it. And I thought, I've really got to get my head around this gratitude about law of attraction, about law of vibration. But I also wanted to get my head around about what I really wanted to do. And I just started to generally believe and start thinking in a more positive mindset and changing my perspective. So I knew I was resilient because I knew what I'd already had done before, but it was now about really learning the art of resilience, really learning it. So when things were happening, okay, how am I going to change this? Looking at Emily every single day, I was like, what am I going to do? So basically, I ended up really pushing hard with the magazine business I had. And I basically got a salesperson, and I ended up selling it. With that, I was able to then buy into a franchise, which was a virtual assistant business. And I built that, and I had clients like the BBC show over here on RTV called Strictly Come Dancing. And it was a great, I couldn't believe it. I just went networking one day, met Damien, who's amazing. And he just said, do you want to help me with Strictly Come Dancing? They've got this program, this company footsteps. I was like, yeah, give it to me. And I basically just built on that. And then I met my client who was a coach, and then I was bringing cash in, but I was clever. I was clever. I'm saying that out loud on a TV show. Yes, I was clever. And I decided to invest in property, but I decided to build a strategy by using other people's money, but legally. So I built my property portfolio, and then I was attracting everything. I was believing in myself. I was like, right, what's next? And then I built Stepping Into Greatness, and I've still got my property company. So the comeback was really what you're thinking up here, massively.
Started with you, and then it grew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met my second husband, who was amazing. You know, he's a very humble guy. He always says to me, why are you with me? I don't earn a lot of money. I don't do this. And I'm like, but it's not about the money. He was exactly the man I wanted to be the father to my daughter. And then we had 2 more children. And so I like, you know, I couldn't do what I do now without him, you know, because he supports me. And so everything was just coming together, even though I won't tell him that. So I won't let him watch this.
Yeah, we won't let him watch this episode. Right,
we'll get that one out.
Now's our segment here. We're going to talk about some social media questions from our audience here. So let me just take a look and see what they say here. The first question is, you say you have a positive mindset. How can I have one also?
So what is it that you really want in your life? So to have a positive mindset, I always think you've got to actually look into putting things into perspective. So if you're thinking, oh, it's great, nothing happens well for me. Have you got a bed tonight? Are you sleeping in a bed? Have you got a roof over your head? Have you had somebody who's given you a hug in the last 24 hours? If not, just find someone off the street and give them one, because you'll feel really good. It's just like, to be positive, you have to be grateful. And gratitude is the biggest lesson. It'll get you 25% happier, they're saying in stats, if you learn gratitude every day. And it's like when something goes wrong, you're like, well, okay, this is happening for a reason. Life, we have changes, and for life to be exciting, we have to change. And sometimes that's not great, but if it's not, what are the lessons you're learning? This is what I feel. Always think, am I learning and growing every day? And get that mindset in a positive of what you appreciate every day. Do a gratitude journal every day. That will completely help you get a positive mindset.
I love it. I think gratitude is so important because, like you said, it just kind of helps repetition of that muscle that we don't practice too much, where we think out of ourselves. We think out of that just me mindset, and gratitude is the key to make that happen. So I definitely.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Let's look at the next question. So right now the next question is, I'm a mother with 4 children. How can I start my own business?
Well, first of all, you need a medal. Well done. I've got 3. If I had one more, I'd probably so that's brilliant. I was talking, it's funny because I was speaking to someone else similar about this yesterday. It always comes from passion and getting a balance. So why do you want to have a business? So first of all, why do you want to have the business? And if you want to start it, think of now is the better time than ever to have a business. Ever. No excuses. How many free resources is there online? Just like Facebook, you can build a business from. Social media on Instagram, using your stories on LinkedIn. And then they've got all these things like MailChimp. That's a free way to build your email list. Honestly, there is no excuse. And it's so accessible to build a business from home. So the first thing will be, you tell yourself you can do it. Second thing, you say, what do you want to do? And then go and get some support. Find somebody who can help you start doing it. And if you're a mum, you say, well, I've got children, I can't do it, I haven't got the time. I'm telling you, I was a single mum and I can do it, anyone can do it. You find the time. You have to, I always say, if you want to have a business, you've got to think if you're a soldier, a farmer, or an Olympian athlete. The fact is, they all have to train. They all have to be disciplined. They all need to change their mindset. It's exactly the same in entrepreneur. If you want to be in business and you think there's quick fixes, I'm really sorry to disappoint you. It ain't going to happen. You've got to train your mind. You know, I've got daily success habits every day. Some days I don't want to do it, but I think of myself as an athlete. I have to if I want that dream. So if you're a mum with children, if you're getting no sleep, you're going to get less sleep. Yeah. So that's going to happen. But really change your lifestyle. Be committed to change, because you'll have to. You won't be able to do it otherwise, but you can do it. And there's so many free resources, so look out for them.
So I want to try something new. Neither of you guys know about this, but I'm going to call this the 1 minute mentorship session. Come here. Come on. All right. I got someone who I want to introduce you to. You've already met her online. This is Gabriella.
Hello, Gabriella.
I would like for you to give her a 1 minute mentorship. She's a journalist who is trying to find her way in this crazy industry of show business. On your marks, get set.
I was not ready.
Go.
Okay, so tell me, are you being visible enough?
I don't think so. I'm working towards that. Alex is trying to help me out and trying to build my LinkedIn and, start a new Instagram so where I could start a show, maybe put myself out there. I just feel like I haven't been given the opportunity to show what I can do, but at the same time, you're right. There's so many resources and platforms where you can show what you have. So I start doing it myself and then eventually get work from other people.
So tell me, how can you stand out from another journalist? Because you must be looking on the industry, looking at what other people are doing. How can you stand out? What needs to be changed in the industry now? Where's that passion coming from?
I think people need to be more refreshing and positive. I feel like there's so many negative things that people say. And I think that if there's one outlet, well, there's a lot like you're a great example of one, but if there's an outlet that can, or say you're on Instagram and you're that one positive person, wow, it's so refreshing to follow this person. She's so positive, or she's posting stories that are actually impactful or helping the world. That's my goal. That's what I want to do as a journalist, is help someone, even if it's something small every day, like what you do, just help. And I feel like a lot of journalists are just sticking to the most viral stories or negative just because, we are drawn to that. But I think if you could be positive, that's a great way to stand out.
Okay, I've got one question for you, quick, because you just said it. You said you want to stand out and put these stories out there, right? And you're saying you're not visible enough. Have you got a blog?
No.
Right. Right, that's the first thing you can do. That's free.
Mm-hmm.
Get a blog. Get out there, show people your stories, and then you send that out to everybody. Start getting people attracted to what you're doing and why you stand out, and then find out your influencers that have the same mindset of you and try and collaborate.
Yeah. No, I think that's
but you've got to
do it.
But you've got to change your I am going to do this today, and give yourself every day, how many people am I going to speak to and pitch to?
Yeah, I think I've been changing my mindset a lot. What you were saying is you watched The Secret and you kind of were changing your mindset. A couple months ago, before I got this job, I was thinking I was in such a rough place because I graduated a year ago, haven't gotten any work. And I was like, all my friends are working. Why can't I just have one opportunity? So I realized that I was thinking negatively most of the time, or like, I'm not going to get a job. I have no money. I'm not going to get into grad school. So what I did was I started a journal and writing positive affirmations, and I do it every day. And that changed my whole mindset completely, thinking, why does this happen to me? Okay, there's a reason why it's happening to me, or I am going to get a job. I will get into grad school. And a couple months later, I got this job, and I was like, oh my God, it's everything that I asked for and put out into the universe. And
I'm telling you, that is the power of language is so important. And be really aware of that. Every time you say something, and I do this to my clients all the time, we say, well, I can't do that. I don't have enough time. I'm like, rephrase that right now. That's a load of crap. You make it happen. I think this is what you've got, all the tools there. Do a blog, get out there, find the best way right now where people are going to see your stuff and get people following that. Direct the traffic from that. Pinterest is supposed to be amazing right now to divert traffic to websites. You do stuff like that, you'll get people going to your blog. And I'm not even technically minded, dude. So for me to know that is pretty impressive.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your advice. It's really helpful. And just listening to you, I think, is super helpful too. And your mindset and your journey, it gives me hope and like, oh, I can do it. I can turn my life around. So thank you.
Oh, you definitely can. And when you do start your blog, I'd like to know so I can spread the word, please.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely share it with you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
I'm being serious. Start that blog.
I will, and I'll share it with you. I have your email.
So what I love about what just happened was this was actually the original intention of this show, was to take high performance people and introduce them with other people who need what they have to say. And for me to just be the person who introduces them to each other. So this is kind of a new segment that I've kind of started to do, but I think that it's really important because I know that she's going to get a lot of value out of that. And then she could end up being like the next version of you, mentoring other people around the world. So it's just one at a time, putting it in.
Yeah.
And I love just being a connector for people. So thank you for
I love that. That's amazing.
that time to do that. I appreciate it. You're actually literally changing the world from across the world. So that's great.
That's a great, I got quite emotional then.
Well, go for it. Cry, because I actually got a good,
cry now. It'll be good for the viewers.
I got a good cry count on this show. So even I cried when I did my own episode. So.
I nearly cried earlier. I was like, oh.
Well, and then you almost made me cry. Thanks a lot. All right, so our next question, this is probably the cry question. Can you please mentor yourself? Talk to your younger version of you. Give that younger version of yourself the advice that you wish you would have gotten before.
Okay.
Speak to the camera as if you're talking to yourself.
Hi, Rebecca. First of all, you're beautiful. Don't ever forget that. Growing up is going to be hard and you're going to have lots of ups and downs. But the one piece of advice I want you to follow and keep and pass on to your children and to your grandchildren and great-grandchildren is learn about being resilient and to enjoy every minute of every single bump you have to go over, because it's happening for a reason, and you're there to learn lessons, and you're there to guide, and you're there to really show everyone how powerful you are as a human being and how special you are like every other single soul in this world. And please don't ever give up. Your dreams will come true if you truly say yes to them.
Wow. Damn. You know, I would have loved to have gotten that video voicemail like back in the day, because that's powerful. And to be able to...
I tell you what, it's really funny because when the reason that's quite hard is when I practiced to be a theta healer. So theta healer is energy healing spiritually. I had to revisit. If you're spiritually, you know, energy healing, I went back to my 7-year-old self. And it's quite hard when you've got to go back when you know someone's been told, you know, your mum's gone to prison and you're like, oh my God. And going back and trying to remember how you're going to deal with that at 7, and I had to look after my little sister. It's hard. Now you've got tears going. So it's quite nice to go back and say, it's all going to be all right.
But why was it so hard again?
Because I wasn't going to see my mum. So... But I had my sister and I didn't cry back then, and the headmaster told us, and it was sports day, and it's in my book actually, and he said, your mum's not going to be around for a bit, but we're going to find some people to look after you. And I just put my hand around Charlotte, my sister, and I said, it's going to be fine. And I didn't cry, and I bottled it up. So you asking me to give advice to my younger self, it's quite powerful. So you've now got your crying viewers.
Well, man, like that's huge. I can't imagine getting that news and knowing what to do, and then having to keep a straight face in front of your younger sister so that you can kind of be there for her. That must have been super hard.
Yeah. Well, I suppose at the time I didn't really think so much about it.
Well,
but,
yeah, you're a kid then, but now, like in hindsight, just kind of putting all those elements of stress into perspective, I think that would be a really difficult situation.
Yeah, and I think asking someone to do that and giving advice to younger self is very powerful. Like that, you should be a therapist. That should probably heal quite a few things there.
Well, you wouldn't think about, but I've seen a lot of trauma on my end too. So it's just a matter of trying to make it all work. Another level, another devil. What is that phrase all about?
Oh, I love that phrase. Well, because there is always another devil when you're hitting a hurdle, and there's always that opportunity where you could say, I can't handle this anymore, I've had enough. It's not meant to be, like, forget about it. And I'm like, no, that chatterbox is that devil saying, you can't do it. And you're like, no, I can do it. I've got this far. Every time you go for a level, it's like when I talk about the Olympian athlete. They've got to train harder. They win one race, they get a competitor who's faster than them. It's another level. You've got to train harder. You've got to get a better mindset. You've got to train better. That's where the other devil comes. And it's the same in business. Every time you get to that first 1,000 or that first 100,000, there's more challenges. It's a bigger game. There's more responsibility. And then there's another devil of fear that might come in. And that's when you've got to regulate that fear and say, thank you very much. I'm hearing you. I'm in the driving seat. You get in the back seat. I know exactly what I'm doing. come back when I get to that next level, and then we'll see what I need to do. And that's why I always say, another level, there's always another devil.
Let's talk about more success. Like, we are in literally a bank vault right now. Most people, like I say on the show, think that these are the measurements of success, but they are not. It's the knowledge. And I'd like you to kind of unlock some of the knowledge that you have for our audience and let them know what your secrets to success are, please.
Oh, the one, I used to always think it was money. Like, I want to be rich, I want to be rich. And don't get me wrong, I'm motivated by money. But it's happiness. It's happiness when you're waking up every morning and you're absolutely got a skip in your step. And that even if you're having a bad day, you can think, it's okay. It's just a bad day. And tomorrow's a new day. And I am going to be turning 40 next year. I know. I don't look it. I know. I look really good. But when I look back and think, oh my God, 40 and what I've achieved, that is happiness. It's happiness that I am making a difference to other people's lives. And when you make a difference to other people's lives, that's a contribution to the world, because they will make a difference to someone else's life. And it's a ripple effect. And, spiritually, spreading gratitude, whatever it is, we all want a better world, and it's about spreading the goodness you have, and I do that, and I'm grateful to the universe, to spirit guides, to my angels, to everyone, that I've opened up and realized that I can spread that word, and that's very special to me, and that's success to me.
I literally saw you on Instagram for like about 10 seconds, and that's all I needed to know that I wanted you on this show. You were at a stoplight in Beverly Hills doing a show here for one of my friends, and you were like spewing out all this positivity as you're crossing the street trying to avoid being hit by a car. And I was like, wow, like, she's got this mindset, this attitude that's so different than like the everyday people that we encounter. And I was like, all right, I got to track her down. I got to find out about her. So I started like doing a deep dive on some of the campaigns you're in charge of and all that. And it's just been reaffirmed in our conversations since that day. I really think that you have this great gift of positivity over adversity, and I love it. I think it's just such a fresh breath.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm going to sleep very happy tonight knowing that. I'll be doing my gratitude journal. Thank you to Alex.
Movie night. That's tonight. That's what you told me.
Movie night, my popcorn and my M&Ms.
So we got two last questions. One of them is, what is your prized possession? Once again, in our vault, we've got some great possessions. What is yours?
Well, actually, it's my signet ring on my little finger. It's got my 3 initials of my daughter, son, and son, EFH. My little ring. It's got EFH on it. And basically, the reason why it is my prized possession is when I'm driving the car, I always see my ring. When I'm typing, I see my ring. Because I do everything to set an example to the future generation of my family, and for them to spread the word, my great-grandchildren that will come, my grandchildren. When I said earlier in the interview, I don't want history to repeat. I don't want my children messing it up when I've done all this hard work. So I'm like, don't let me down, kids. keep up the name, keep up the mission. So my ring is important because they're with me all the time, and Emily especially. It all started when Emily was born. I shifted being a mum, the fact that my first husband walked out, and I'm so grateful for that moment. And I have their 3 initials on me all the time, knowing that they are the future. They are the future of this world. And we talk about so much about saving the the climate and everything else, but the people that are here now have to set that example to the younger generation, because they've got to lead it. And I take that seriously. I'm not just a mum of 3 children. Those 3 children are going to do something amazing, just like anyone else's children, as long as they believe and take and make good choices and don't excuse things.
All right, so let's take this into the first person. Pretend today's your last day on the earth, and you have this video to tell Emily what to, a pep talk.
Oh God.
Talk to her.
Don't get me crying again. All right, Emily, this is what you've got to do. You've got to believe in yourself, and you must not under any circumstances change you. You have got the gift of so much of intelligence, care. You're just the most beautiful girl, and don't straighten your hair either. Keep the curls in. But seriously, be you. Don't change. Don't fit in with anyone else. You don't have to. Be your authentic self and look after your 2 brothers.
Perfect. All right, that's the end of our show. Where can people find you online?
Right, Instagram, which is Rebecca Ann Cross, all one word, without the E on the end, or LinkedIn, which is Rebecca Cross Stepping into Greatness, or you can find me on Facebook, Rebecca Cross. Just simple Rebecca Cross.
Well, I really appreciate you being on the show. I appreciate you mentoring my team, as well as talking to your younger self and your future self, which is your daughter. It's been a pleasure having you on our show, and definitely would love to have you as a guest host down the road.
Thank you so much, Alex. I've loved every minute. Thank you.
All right, so if you guys want to be a guest on this show, we would love to have you. We're looking for people, once again, top in the entertainment, sports, and business industry, inspirational content, people who are movers and shakers. We want you on our show, and thanks again for watching The Vault.